Hello and welcome. We're picking where we left off last time in the Long Dark Interloper. In the last one, we were in the process of producing all we needed for a trade. During the process of which, we'll bring up the trade, I suppose, right now, because we're going to discuss it. We realized we're going to have to harvest a lot of firewood. We got like another 80 firewood left to make. And as part of that, we're going to go and wear out our axe, almost certainly. We have run out of whetstone with which to sharpen said axe. So we're going to go, I think I know where I have one. So we're going to go ahead and acquire one of our existing ones. The existing ones, I believe, are all out in either the camp office or trappers right now. Are the main places I probably left them for storage purposes. So we're going to go up to those and check to see if they have some and pick them up and bring some back with us. I think with like 57% left on the axe, we could technically get away with harvesting like 10. I'm not exactly sure how many we get per harvest. But we could, how many harvests we can get per condition on the axe, but probably at least 10 for the 50% we have left on the axe. So we could get about half of what we need to make, but I prefer not to wear the axe out quite so much with no way to repair it. The alternative is we already have a spare axe over in Desolation Point, so if I can't find a whetstone today, that'll be what the plan is to go retrieve that backup axe. We don't have a period of time when we don't have an axe. So as part of that, we got a trip goal. Get over to the camp office, see if we have some whetstones, pick them up if we do, and then we'll get back down here to harvest the lumber for the trade. This will probably be a shorter episode today. Actually, you know, we'll pick up the cedar firewood. So that's one of the things we need to export in the trade is cedar firewood. So a loose piece of cedar firewood is actually not a bad find right now. A fish.
I wonder if I can drop any of this gear.
And rich bark. Okay. Is that another fish? That is another fish. So I'm doing a little bit of beach coming here on the way out. But yeah, I think with how this is going to be a little bit shorter episode, or a shorter stream, because we're only having 3 days between Long Dark streams instead of the usual 4. And for various reasons, I need to wake up early tomorrow, so I'm not going to run the stream as late tonight. Stream's starting sort of a reasonable time, like about 10:30. So if I do stop when if I do record what I normally do, it'd be about a little bit of midnight, a little past midnight, and if I do 3 parts. So we're probably going to make it a 3-part stream rather than a 4-part stream. Marine flare, that's a nice find. Cedar firewood isn't bad. Cloth. Cattail head, we don't need that. Have a human corpse here. That was a little farther than I was expecting it to. Oh. Can we inspect? No. Okay. So yeah, I think with 3 parts we should have enough time to get out of the camp office, check for whetstones, and get back. How much more than that we're going to get done in the stream, I'm not so sure. It depends a lot on the weather. And after we have the character stop to cook and stuff. We're gonna go drop this firewood at the fishing cabins over here. I think is what they're called. We've got a fuel stockpile there already. So it won't be a completely dumb place to do a stop by on the way back to pick it up. Because we're not going to go all the way to the trading center to turn the cedar hardwood in right now. And it would probably be ideal to have a little bit of carrying capacity on the way back in case we want to stop and gather firewood. We're in late afternoon right now, which apparently is warm enough here in Coastal Highway with our current gear that we are warm with the torch out. I'm not sure how warm. Probably isn't worth stopping to check. Yeah, it's one of the major differences between Interloper and Stalker difficulty. Stalker difficulty, I could probably be like this level warm mid-blizzard with full endgame gear. But here on Interloper, I only get it on good days. So I'm gonna drop the firewood here. We'll come back through here on the way back. Character's a little hungry, so I'm a little tempted to take the detour to the bear pile that we have in the region. At the moment here in Coastal Highway, all three of the bears should be dead. We recently, in the last stream, killed the third one. And we haven't seen any indications that they started to respawn yet. The first one to respawn should be the one out on Misanthrope. This should be the second to respawn. So I suppose we should, well, maybe less so on the way out, but on the way back in we should be careful. Just in case I have misjudged how long it's been and the time for respawning has begun. There's the meat. Do want to spend a little bit of effort here. Okay. Yeah, we'll focus on just moving. The weather is good, so I want to continue traveling in it while it stays good. A little bit tempted to start a fire so I can make more torches. But that's just me wanting all the torches in the world. It is starting to cool down enough that we do need the torch lit. This appears to be a regular wolf. The proverbial boss bar for the Timberwolf didn't show up with the wolf howl. I'm not too worried about this wolf following us for the moment, so I'm gonna let it do that. So obviously we're wandering up the river here, so we're basically taking the river route out of Coastal Highway towards Mystery Lake, up into the ravine. Again, I'm not too worried about the wolf following us. We got a lit torch, so we can always scare it off if it gets too close. And it won't be able to follow us through the loading screen into the ravine anyway. If I get lucky, it might find a rabbit or a deer to go chase, and we can try to steal the kill from it. I think we have been long enough that as we go along here, we killed rabbits on the way out to Coastal Highway. They should they should be by now cured, so we can grab those and use those for repairs. Found some of the steeper spots here. Still got a decent gap between us and the wolf. And again, I think the animals in the game have slightly better ability to climb up slopes than you do. Climb up and down slopes than you do. So that wolf will definitely be able to follow us up there. But it obviously can't follow us through the loading screen here. So we're about to lose the wolf. There we go. So here is the ravine. The ravine is, other than the falling hazards, there's plenty of places you can slide off the area into death walls here. But other than falling hazards, this area is very safe. There are no predators here. Okay, so this is my last torch I have that is not above 50, or not above 50%. So 50% is the highest quality torch you can pull out of fire, which is probably where this one came from. Whereas the rest is torches that I've either looted or crafted. And I say looted or crafted knowing that I have yet to craft any in this run, so they're all looted torches. Looted torches can come as high as 100%, and they usually come 100%. They're reasonably rare, so the situations where you get 100% one is common. I think normally to craft torches you need lantern fuel and cloth, in addition to some sticks. So they're reasonably expensive to have 100% one. Where the ones below 50% are just, they're inversely incredibly cheap, right? They just cost 10 minutes of fuel time on a campfire. It also technically costs that campfire 1 degree, but you often pull them out when you're about to leave a campfire. So when you care less about the temperature of the campfire. The point usually then is to pull out all the temperature, all the time and temperature that you can. Which is then you don't care that they're, you know, making the fire cold, because you're about to leave the fire behind. There may be a little bit of an annoyance where you'd like to still be warm as you pull them out, but they tend not to make that big of a difference. It's 1 degree in 10 minutes. So if you have like commonly I end up in situations where I'm pulling like 6 torches out of a fire. I started with a stick and a piece of coal. So it's a 21 degree fire. So I'm only going to pull 6 degrees out of it, so it's still going to be plus 15 degrees. But obviously you can't pull more than, you've only got an hour left in the fire, you can only pull 6 torches out, if that. Because usually the act of pulling them out and putting them out so you can put them away uses some time on the campfire as well. So it usually takes a little bit more than 10 minutes to chuck them. Did just accidentally click the left mouse button there. My interaction, I have it on press and hold. So I press something, it generally doesn't straight up do it. I have to hold for a little bit. Which makes struggles with things like walls reasonably predictable. If you have it on, especially the struggle, I have struggle on press and hold as well. Especially struggles. If you have it on the opposite one, which is click rapidly to struggle, That's probably stronger if you're willing to play that mini game. Because the quicker you click, the quicker it gets the wolf off you. Whereas I'm doing it the other way, which is a little bit less effective at getting the wolf off you. But it's predictably effective, is maybe a good way to think about it.
It's dusk, so night can't be far behind.
Okay, we don't need to warm up here. I'm mainly here to make some torches. So I'm mainly going to just toss a bunch of sticks in the fire. So I got something to pull out. Got one deer hide here. I thought I'd left some rabbit hides. Did I not actually hunt the rabbit in the end? Oh, I remember. I did hunt the rabbits, but I forgot to drop the stuff. So I ended up carrying it down to the cabin. Okay. We'll have to go to the next one. So as you can see, you can pull a torch out. Cost of 10 minutes on the campfire. 1 degree of campfire temperature. It does take you an in-game minute or so to usually put the torch out and put it away. So you usually cost in practice a little bit more than 10 minutes on the fire. It is this dusk apparently getting a little bit cold, but we're still warm enough we can travel for quite a while with this temperature. Which I intend to do. If I can, I would like to get all the way to the camp office. Before the temperature changes. Well, before the weather significantly changes. So the trestle that we crossed a little bit earlier is one of the major danger spots in this zone. The other major danger spot is the fallen tree here we use as a bridge. Because while it's not that hard to maneuver across, if you do fall off the tree, you do die. Right, so it's one of those things where if you're used to handling it, it's one of those hazards that people treat like it's not very much of a hazard, but it is somewhat hazardous there. Okay, so the next cave should have some rabbit hide in it. So we'll pick up the rabbit hide and pick up the cured guts that should be there as well. Though, well, maybe we might not pick up the guts. It depends on whether the guts are cured or not. Rabbit hides cure in 3 days. Guts cure in 5. So the rabbit hide is much more likely to be done. Oops, we'll leave you behind. Should have taken the moment to disassemble that for a stick, but we'll just leave it behind instead. Got 1%, it's pretty much ruined. This is an area that can have birch bark. We've been through here pretty recently, so there is less likely to be birch bark. Well, we're less likely to have a full respawn of birch bark, at least. It has been long enough there's been at least like 1 blizzard and 1 storm. There probably is a little bit if I was to look very hard for it, of birch bark respawning, but... Okay, so there's the rabbit hide. So we got 1 rabbit hide, 2 rabbit hide, grab 2 things of guts. Do I want to repair the boots? No, the boots are fully repaired. Okay, so it's just the gloves that needs repair. Yeah, just the guts need to repair. Or just the gloves need to repair. More food there. We're not going to worry about it. We can eat it on the way back. We should have enough calories to get to where we're going. And at least back to calories. Right now I don't have very good food. Well, let's phrase that a slightly different way. I have plenty of food at the camp office. It's just all like canned, synthetic, single-use food. Nothing renewable there. I tend to prefer to eat the renewable stuff first. I may have left the stuff to do fishing at the fishing hut nearby, but we don't have camp. Well, we're carrying fuel, which would let us start the fire. But yeah, we don't have a lot of fuel on us. Or I don't think there's going to be any fuel at the fishing hut specifically. I tend to pre-position fuel at the fishing huts to keep me warm while fishing. And it's something I tend to do in preparation for fishing. Like the one that we probably will be fishing at when we get back to Coastal Highway. That one's right now full of coal. At least in that one I tend to use the coal to harvest limbs and then use the harvested limbs to heat the hut. So I basically got that one partially prepared. If I was desperate for vitamin C, we could just drop in and dump out a bunch of coal in the furnace for time. But it's more efficient to spend one stick and one coal to get 3 logs, or 3 firewood logs, because the firewood logs will provide about 3 times the time. Yeah. And you can usually, on Interloper, if you have decent gear, be warm long enough to harvest a firewood. If you've started a fire with a stick and a coal, so that's a 21-degree fire. You arguably could probably do it also with a two pieces of coal and a stick if it's worse weather. But if it's 41 degrees, then you need to be warm. Well, more than 21 degrees to be warm. Often that's whether you just want to pass up on and come back later to harvest fuel. Normally, if I'm worried about running into wolves, I'll walk the ridge down to the camp office, or vice versa. When walking back from the camp office, I'll walk the ridge down. We've got a torch right now out and lit, and we can keep replacing that. So I'm just going to walk down the rails. Walking down the rails because you're not going up and down and around trees and stuff is a little faster, but you're a little bit more likely to run into wolves, in my experience. Especially on Stalker. The tactic of walking along the ridge that I've learned was actually learned in Stalker. It's just a way to avoid wolves. Because there's so many wolves on Stalker. Oh, you can see one here on Interloper already. Nope, one both sides of the railroad tracks. Which one to interact with? I would interact with... Oh, apparently we spooked the one on the right side already. Okay. We'll go right side. Oh, the one on the left side saw us. Okay, let's scare him off. Yeah, we're gonna get to the camp office. We're gonna retrieve some whetstones, assuming I've got some there. I think I've got some there. Then we'll probably sleep until the character's got his fatigue back, and then we'll start making the trip back. We'll see how the weather looks. Maybe I might start the trip back tonight before the character sleeps. Because the weather is good, and it's always nice to travel in good weather rather than bad weather. We have reached the point, fatigue-wise, where we're starting to become slower. Fatigue doesn't necessarily directly make you slower, but rather it lowers your carrying capacity, and as you exceed your carrying capacity, you begin to walk slower. So we've lost enough carrying capacity that we are, in fact, walking slower now. So it's probably pretty imperceptible at this moment. Because we only just dropped below. Well, I suppose in this case we rose above because I picked sticks, right? I picked up sticks and raised the weight. But we're not much above weight, I think. Slightly annoying we've got a fog that's rolled in. It's not too much of an issue in this area because we've got a good landmark to follow. We've got the power poles we can follow here. But a fog like this would be brutal in the middle of Forlorn Muskeg or the Forsaken Airfield, I think. Okay, so this is our turn here to the camp office. I am starting to run a little low on torches, but at the same time, the camp office is someplace where I can pick some torches up. So I can just pick up half a dozen torches and start walking back with the whetstones. The weather is decent, so we're not in a real rush to get in someplace warm to recover the fatigue. And I do not appear to have a whetstone here. At least I haven't put it on the workbench. This is usually where I put them. So those are the used ones. Same with that sewing kit. Pick up a couple torches. Okay, so we're not going to start the walk back. Because I don't have a whetstone yet. Next place to check is Trappers. I may have some at Trappers. If I don't, then we're going to have to fall back on plan B, which is just go straight for the second axe. I have to say, I'm not particularly appreciative of this heavy fog. There is a way to cut the corner off here that'll make the trap a little bit shorter to Trappers. We're going to avoid it because of the heavy fog right now. But better visibility, I would often take it. There's a ptarmigan. Let's get this ptarmigan with torch swap. repositioning my sitting a little bit here as we're walking. Waiting for a landmark to give me an idea when I need to turn. There's a fairly reliable way to get the camp office, or to get to the trappers from the camp office, which is you follow the railroad tracks until you see the zone border, and you can just follow that along to the camp office. So the landmark I'm currently looking for to know when to turn is I should see a ruined train car just before the tunnel. There's the train car, so this is around about when we want to turn. That was a second stick there, but that's not too long to pick up multiples. This area in here can also be somewhat valuable for finding birch bark, I find. Because as you can see, there's the occasional birch tree in here, so birch bark does spawn in here. This fog is going to make it a little hard to find birch bark, though. So I'm mainly going to focus on getting to trappers. Not getting lost in the fog, hopefully. Did I lose the wolf in the fog? I may have lost the wolf in the fog. Oh, there's a birch bark anyway. More birch bark means more birch bark tea, which is one way to recover condition in the game. The other way is sleeping. And then I think there's also stims when you use them give you immediate 20 up. 20 condition up. I generally, unless it's a complete emergency, try to avoid using stims. Because prior to the trader being added to the game, I think they weren't renewable. The trader, and I think the trader, only if you've max leveled him, does sell them occasionally. We don't have the trader leveled up right now enough for him to sell them yet, but I think they're on his list of things he does sell. So we're getting pretty close to the camp office. Before we get to the camp office, on the left here is going to be the cave out to Mountain Town.
My fingers feel numb.
That cave is right here on the left. Here we go, that's the cave to Mountain Town. So the route that we're taking here, if you just follow the zone border, is a pretty good way to know how to get to Mountain Town if you know where the railroad tracks is in Mystery Lake. And usually if you're sort of following those hard landmarks like the zone border and the railroad track, you can generally move around in very heavy fog conditions or even very heavy blizzard conditions without too much of an issue. Okay, should be enough calories. We'll step inside, we'll drink a little bit of water, and then we'll see if we got any whetstones here. Okay. I do not have any on the workbench. It does not appear I put any in the workbench drawer. So I came out here for whetstones and have failed to find any.
I'm gonna have to
Oh,
leave
dear.
something behind.
Whoops. That wasn't what I meant to do with that button, but I did. You don't need that move side, we can leave it inside there. Those are the ones I used up, yeah. It's a ruined one. We'll pick it up anyway for the moment. Okay, so I think we're gonna have to sleep. We didn't find any here, so we're gonna have to start the trip back in kind of defeat. But that'll be fun. Okay, so we'll put this torch out. We'll take the moment to disassemble both the very low condition torches for their sticks. The weather may still be good outside, but we're at the point in fatigue where it's time to rest one way or the other. And even if the weather is good, I don't think it's going to hold for very much longer. It is sneaking up on the middle of the night, which is usually when the temperature really just starts to drop. We're also at a good place to put a part break in, so we're going to put the character to sleep for 10 hours, and then that's where we'll put the part break in for YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, there will be another part up tomorrow. We're going to try to record 3 parts tonight. Yeah, we're going to try to record 3 parts tonight. Next time I may try to record 5, just to put it on the same sort of level with Victoria 3, or I may not, we'll see. The goal is to try to get all the parts recorded and uploaded and released on YouTube before the VOD associated with them comes down off of Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I'm going to take a short break, just stretch the legs just a little bit, and then get right back to gaming. So until the next bit, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.